chapters 25 through 28 of the Gospel according to Matthew, from the American Bible Union's New Testament. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Mark Penfold. Chapters 25 through 28 of the Gospel according to Matthew. Chapter 25. Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened to 10 virgins, who took their lamps and went out to meet the bridegroom. And 5 of them were wise, and 5 foolish. The foolish, taking their lamps, took no oil with them, but the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. While the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept, and at midnight a cry was made, "Behold, the bridegroom! Go out to meet him!" Then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said to the wise, "Give us of your oil, for our lamps are going out." But the wise answered, saying, "Not so. There will not be enough for us and you. Go rather to those who sell, and buy for yourselves." And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and they who were ready went in with him to the marriage. And the door was shut. And afterward come also the rest of the virgins, saying, "Lord, Lord, open to us." But he answering said, "Verily I say to you, I know you not. Watch therefore, because ye know not the day, nor the hour. For as a man going abroad called his own servants, and delivered to them his goods. And to one gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, to each according to his own ability, and straightway went abroad. And he that received the 5 talents went and traded with them, and gained 5 other talents. Likewise also he that received the 2 gained other 2. But he that received the 1 went away and digged in the earth, and hid his lord's money. After a long time the lord of those servants comes and reckons with them. And he that received the 5 talents came and brought other 5 talents, saying, Lord, thou deliveredst to me 5 talents. Behold, I gained other 5 talents beside them. His lord said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. Thou wast faithful over a little, I will set thee over much. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord. And he also that received the 2 talents came and said, Lord, thou deliveredst to me 2 talents. Behold, I gained other 2 talents beside them. His lord said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. Thou wast faithful over a little, I will set thee over much. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord. And he also that received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew thee that thou art a hard man, reaping where thou didst not sow, and gathering where thou strewedst not. And fearing, I went and hid thy talent in the earth. Lo, thou hast thine own. And his lord answering said to him, Wicked and slothful servant! Thou knewest that I reap where I did not sow, and gather where I strewed not. Thou oughtest therefore to have put my money to the exchangers, and when I came, I should have received my own with interest. Take therefore the talent from him, and give to him that has the 10 talents. For to every one that has shall be given, and he shall have abundance. But from him that has not, even what he has shall be taken away. And cast forth the unprofitable servant into the outer darkness. There will be the weeping and the gnashing of teeth. And when the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the angels with him, then will he sit on his throne of glory. And before him shall be gathered all the nations, and he will divide them one from another, as the shepherd divides the sheep from the goats. And he will set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left. Then will the king say to those on his right hand, Come, blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and ye gave me to eat. I was thirsty, and ye gave me drink. I was a stranger, and ye took me in. Naked, and ye clothed me. I was sick, and ye visited me. I was in prison, and ye came to me. Then will the righteous answer him, saying, Lord, when saw we thee hungering, and fed thee, or thirsting, and gave thee drink? And when saw we thee a stranger, and took thee in, or naked, and clothed thee? And when saw we thee sick, or in prison, and came to thee? And the king will answer and say to them, Verily I say to you, inasmuch as ye did it to one of the least of these my brethren, ye did it to me. Then will he say also to those on the left hand, Depart from me, accursed, into the everlasting fire prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was hungry, and ye did not give me to eat. I was thirsty, and ye did not give me drink. I was a stranger, and ye did not take me in. Naked, and ye did not clothe me. Sick and in prison, and ye did not visit me. Then will they also answer, saying, Lord, when saw we thee hungering or thirsting, or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and did not minister to thee? Then will he answer them, saying, Verily I say to you, inasmuch as ye did it not to one of the least of these, ye did it not to me. And these shall go away into everlasting punishment, but the righteous into everlasting life. Chapter 26. And it came to pass, when Jesus finished all these sayings, he said to his disciples, Ye know that after 2 days comes the Passover, and the Son of Man is delivered up to be crucified. Then assembled together the chief priests and the elders of the people in the court of the high priest, who was called Caiaphas, and consulted together that they might take Jesus by craft and put him to death. But they said, Not at the feast, that there may not be a tumult among the people. And Jesus, being in Bethany, in the house of Simon the leper, there came to him a woman having an alabaster box of very precious ointment, and poured it on his head as he reclined at table. And his disciples, seeing it, were displeased, saying, To what purpose is this waste? For this might have been sold for much and given to the poor. And Jesus, knowing it, said to them, Why trouble ye the woman? For she wrought a good work upon me. For the poor ye have always with you, but me ye have not always. For she, in pouring this ointment on my body, did it to prepare me for burial. Verily I say to you, wherever this good news shall be preached in the whole world, this also that she did shall be told for a memorial of her. Then one of the 12, called Judas Iscariot, went to the chief priests and said, What will ye give me, and I will deliver him to you? And they weighed out to him 30 pieces of silver. And from that time he sought opportunity to deliver him up. And on the first day of the feast of unleavened bread, the disciples came to Jesus, saying to him, Where wilt thou that we prepare for thee to eat the Passover? And he said, Go into the city to such a man, and say to him, The teacher says, My time is at hand. I will keep the Passover at thy house with my disciples. And the disciples did as Jesus directed them, and made ready the Passover. And when evening was come, he reclined at table with the 12. And as they were eating, he said, Verily I say to you, that one of you will betray me. And they were exceedingly sorrowful, and began to say to him, each one, Lord, is it I? And he answering said, He that dipped his hand with me in the dish, the same will betray me. The Son of Man goes indeed as it is written of him. But woe to that man through whom the Son of Man is betrayed! It were good for him if that man had not been born. And Judas, his betrayer, answering said, Rabbi, is it I? He says to him, Thou saidst it. And as they were eating, Jesus took the loaf and blessed and broke, and gave to the disciples, and said, Take, eat. This is my body. And he took the cup and gave thanks, and gave to them, saying, Drink all ye of it, for this is my blood of the new covenant, which is shed for many for remission of sins. And I say to you that I will not drink henceforth of this fruit of the vine, until that day when I drink it new with you in the kingdom of my Father. And having sung, they went out into the Mount of the Olives. Then Jesus says to them, All ye will be offended because of me this night, for it is written, I will smite the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock shall be scattered abroad. But after I have risen, I will go before you into Galilee. Peter answering said to him, Though all shall be offended because of thee, I will never be offended. Jesus said to him, Verily I say to thee that this night, before a cock crows, thou wilt thrice deny me. Peter says to him, Even though I should die with thee, I will not deny thee. Likewise also said all the disciples. Then Jesus comes with them to a place called Gethsemane, and says to the disciples, "Sit ye here while I go yonder and pray." And taking with him Peter and the 2 sons of Zebedee, he began to be sorrowful and to be troubled. Then says he to them, "My soul is exceedingly sorrowful unto death. Tarry ye here, and watch with me." And going forward a little, he fell on his face, praying, and saying, "My Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass away from me. But yet, not as I will, but as thou wilt." And he comes to the disciples, and finds them sleeping, and he says to Peter, "Were ye so unable to watch with me 1 hour? Watch and pray that ye enter not into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak." Again, a second time, he went away and prayed, saying, "My Father, if this cannot pass away from me except I drink it, thy will be done." And coming, he again found them sleeping, for their eyes were heavy. And leaving them, he went away again, and prayed the 3rd time, saying the same words. Then he comes to his disciples, and says to them, "Do ye sleep the remaining time, and take your rest? Behold, the hour is at hand, and the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Rise, let us be going. Behold, he is at hand that betrays me." And while he was yet speaking, behold, Judas, one of the 12, came, and with him a great multitude with swords and staves from the chief priests and elders of the people. And his betrayer gave them a sign, saying, "Whom I shall kiss, that is he. Hold him fast." And forthwith he came to Jesus and said, "Hail, Rabbi!" and kissed him. And Jesus said to him, "Friend, wherefore art thou come?" Then they came and laid hands on Jesus and held him fast. And behold, one of those who were with Jesus stretched out his hand and drew his sword, and striking the servant of the high priest, took off his ear. Then says Jesus to him, "Put back thy sword into its place, for all they who take the sword shall perish by the sword. Thinkest thou that I cannot now pray to my Father, and he will send me more than 12 legions of angels? How then shall the Scriptures be fulfilled, that thus it must be?" In that hour Jesus said to the multitudes, "Are ye come out as against a robber with swords and staves to take me? I sat daily with you teaching in the temple, and ye did not lay hold of me. But all this has been done that the Scriptures of the prophets might be fulfilled." Then the disciples all forsook him and fled. And they who laid hold of Jesus led him away to Caiaphas the high priest, where the scribes and the elders were assembled. And Peter followed him afar off, unto the court of the high priest, and entering in, he sat with the servants to see the end. And the chief priests and the elders and all the council sought false witness against Jesus, that they might put him to death, and found none, though many false witnesses came. But at last came 2, and said, "This man said, I am able to destroy the temple of God, and to build it in 3 days. And the high priest arose and said to him, "Answerest thou nothing? What do these witness against thee?" But Jesus was silent. And the high priest answering said to him, "I adjure thee by the living God, that thou tell us whether thou art the Christ, the Son of God." Jesus says to him, "Thou saidst it. But I say to you, hereafter ye shall see the Son of Man sitting on the right hand of power, and coming on the clouds of heaven." Then the high priest rent his clothes, saying, "He blasphemed! What further need have we of witnesses? Behold, ye now heard his blasphemy. What think ye?" They answering said, "He is guilty of death." Then they spit in his face and buffeted him, and others smote him, saying, "Prophesy to us, O Christ! Who is he that struck thee?" And Peter was sitting without in the court. And a damsel came to him, saying, "Thou also wast with Jesus the Galilean." But he denied before all, saying, "I know not what thou sayest." And he, having gone out into the porch, another maid saw him, and said to those who were there, "This man also was with Jesus the Nazarene." And again he denied with an oath, "I do not know the man." And after a little while, they that stood by came and said to Peter, "Surely thou also art one of them, for thy speech betrays thee. Then he began to invoke curses and to swear, I do not know the man. And immediately a cock crowed. And Peter remembered the word of Jesus when he said, Before a cock crows, thou wilt thrice deny me. And he went out and wept bitterly. Chapter 27. And when morning came, all the chief priests and the elders of the people took counsel against Jesus, so as to put him to death. And having bound him, they led him away and delivered him up to Pontius Pilate, the governor. Then Judas, who betrayed him, when he saw that he was condemned, repenting, brought back the 30 pieces of silver to the chief priests and the elders, saying, I sinned in betraying innocent blood. And they said, What is it to us? Look thou to it. And casting down the pieces of silver in the temple, he departed, and he went away and hanged himself. And the chief priests took the silver pieces and said, It is not lawful to put them into the treasury, since it is the price of blood. And they took counsel and bought with them the potter's field, to bury strangers in. Wherefore that field was called the field of blood unto this day. Then was fulfilled that which was spoken through Jeremiah the prophet, saying, And they took the 30 pieces of silver, the price of him that was priced, whom they of the sons of Israel did price, and gave them for the potter's field, as the Lord appointed to me. And Jesus stood before the governor, and the governor questioned him, saying, Art thou the King of the Jews? And Jesus said to him, Thou sayest it. And when he was accused by the chief priests and the elders, he made no answer. Then says Pilate to him, Hearest thou not what things they witness against thee? And he made him no answer, not even to one word, so that the governor greatly wondered. Now at the feast the governor was wont to release to the multitude one prisoner whom they would. And they had then a noted prisoner called Barabbas. When therefore they were assembled, Pilate said to them, Whom will ye that I release to you, Barabbas, or Jesus, who is called Christ? For he knew that through envy they delivered him up. And as he sat on the judgment seat, his wife sent to him, saying, Have nothing to do with that just man, for I suffered much this day in a dream because of him. And the chief priests and the elders persuaded the multitudes that they should ask for Barabbas, and should destroy Jesus. And the governor answering said to them, Which of the two will ye that I release to you? And they said, Barabbas. Pilate says to them, What then shall I do with Jesus, who is called Christ? They all say to him, Let him be crucified. And the governor said, What evil then did he? But they cried the more, saying, Let him be crucified. And Pilate, seeing that it avails nothing, but rather that a tumult is made, took water and washed his hands before the multitude, saying, I am innocent of the blood of this just man. Look ye to it. And all the people answering said, His blood be on us and on our children. Then he released to them Barabbas, but Jesus, having scourged him, he delivered up to be crucified. Then the soldiers of the governor took Jesus into the praetorium, and gathered to him the whole band. And they stripped him, and put on him a scarlet robe. And having platted a crown of thorns, they put it on his head, and a reed in his right hand. And bowing the knee before him, they mocked him, saying, Hail, King of the Jews! And they spit upon him, and took the reed, and smote him on the head. And when they had mocked him, they took off the robe from him, and put on him his own garments, and led him away to crucify him. And as they came out, they found a man of Cyrene, Simon by name. Him they compelled to bear his cross. And having come to a place called Golgotha, which is called Place of a Skull, they gave him vinegar to drink mingled with gall, and tasting it, he would not drink. And having crucified him, they divided his garments among them, casting lots. And sitting down, they watched him there. And they set up over his head his accusation, written, This is Jesus, the King of the Jews. 2 robbers are then crucified with him, one on the right hand and one on the left. And those passing by reviled him, wagging their heads and saying, Thou that destroyest the temple, and buildest it in 3 days, save thyself. If thou art the Son of God, come down from the cross. Likewise also the chief priests, mocking, with the scribes and elders, said, Others he saved, himself he cannot save. If he is King of Israel, let him now come down from the cross, and we will believe on him. He trusts in God. Let him now deliver him, if he desires him, for he said, I am the Son of God. And also the robbers who were crucified with him reproached him with the same thing. And from the 6th hour there was darkness over all the land unto the 9th hour. And about the 9th hour Jesus cried with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli, lema sabachthani. That is, my God, why didst thou forsake me? Some of those standing there, hearing it, said, This man calls for Elijah. And straightway one of them ran and took a sponge, and having filled it with vinegar, and put it on a reed, gave him to drink. But the rest said, Let alone, let us see whether Elijah comes to save him. And Jesus, again crying with a loud voice, yielded up his spirit. And behold, the veil of the temple was rent in twain from the top to the bottom, and the earth quaked, and the rocks were rent, and the tombs were opened, and many bodies of the saints who have fallen asleep arose, and coming out of the tombs after his resurrection, went into the holy city and appeared to many. And the centurion, and they that with him were watching Jesus, on seeing the earthquake and the things that were done, were exceedingly afraid, saying, Truly, this was the Son of God. And many women were there, beholding afar off, they who followed Jesus from Galilee, ministering to him, among whom was Mary the Magdalene, and Mary the mother of James and Joses, and the mother of the sons of Zebedee. And evening having come, there came a rich man from Arimathea, named Joseph, who also himself was a disciple of Jesus. This man went to Pilate, and asked for the body of Jesus. Then Pilate commanded that the body should be given up. And taking the body, Joseph wrapped it in a clean linen cloth, and laid it in his own new tomb, which he hewed out in the rock. And having rolled a great stone to the door of the tomb, he departed. And Mary the Magdalene was there, and the other Mary, sitting over against the sepulchre. And on the morrow, which is after the preparation, the chief priests and the Pharisees came together to Pilate, saying, Sir, we remember that deceiver said, while he was yet alive, After 3 days I will rise. Command therefore that the sepulchre be made secure until the 3rd day, lest his disciples come and steal him away, and say to the people, He is risen from the dead. And the last error will be worse than the first. Pilate said to them, Ye have a watch. Go, make secure as ye know how. And they went, and made the sepulchre secure, sealing the stone in connection with the watch. Chapter 28. And late in the Sabbath, as it was dawning into the 1st day of the week, came Mary the Magdalene and the other Mary to view the sepulchre. And behold, there was a great earthquake, for an angel of the Lord descending out of heaven came and rolled away the stone and sat upon it. His countenance was like lightning, and his raiment white as snow, and for fear of him the keepers shook and became as dead men. And the angel answering said to the women, Fear not ye, for I know that ye are seeking Jesus who was crucified. He is not here, for he is risen, as he said. Come hither, see the place where the Lord lay, and go quickly and tell his disciples that he is risen from the dead. And behold, he goes before you into Galilee. There ye shall see him. Behold, I told you. And going out quickly from the sepulchre with fear and great joy, they ran to bring his disciples word. And behold, Jesus met them, saying, All hail! And they, coming to him, laid hold of his feet and worshipped him. Then Jesus says to them, Be not afraid. Go, bear word to my brethren, to go away into Galilee, and there they shall see me. And as they were going, behold, some of the watch came into the city, and reported to the chief priests all the things that were done. And having assembled with the elders, and taken counsel, they gave much money to the soldiers, saying, Say that his disciples came by night, and stole him away while we slept. And if this shall be heard by the governor, we will persuade him, and make you secure. And they, taking the money, did as they were taught. And this saying was reported abroad among the Jews until this day. And the 11 disciples went away into Galilee, into the mountain where Jesus had appointed them. And seeing him, they worshipped him, but some doubted. And Jesus came and spoke to them, saying, All power was given to me in heaven and on earth. Go therefore and disciple all the nations, immersing them in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all things whatever I commanded you. And behold, I am with you always, unto the end of the world. The end of chapters 25 through 28. And the end of the Gospel according to Matthew, from the American Bible Union's New Testament. Recording by Mark Penfold.